If you've been playing favorites down the stretch of this NBA season, you're probably making money. Last night, again, the chalk comes through 8-2 against the spread. And when you look at the two favorites that didn't cover, one of them was Milwaukee. I'll just put it at that. Milwaukee's favored, it's a problem. And of course, Golden State didn't cover last night either. They've been dismal in this big favorite role that they were in last night. Tonight, we've got a solid NBA slate. Let's break down a pair of West Coast games on this video with Teddy's Daily Double, powered by WagerTalk. We're going to talk about the Mavericks and the Suns, and we'll talk about the Thunder and the Clippers, the two West Coast games in NBA action for Wednesday. Ted Savransky, Teddy covers with a pair of big game breakdowns. Let's start by looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen. Now let's start in Phoenix, where I'm trying to decide if there's urgency for the Suns tonight or not. Bottom line, the Odds Logic live odds screen says 10.5, the current point spread, 231.5, the current total. And it's a Suns team that really hasn't played their best basketball since Dylan Brooks got back on the floor. Phoenix had a pretty rough road trip back east, in which I'm not going to say everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but they had a game in Orlando that fell apart at the end. They had a bad performance in Charlotte. They got slapped around by Houston on the first of these back-to-backs last night right here on this floor. And the only win that they had since beating Memphis back in March was knocking off Chicago. A 10-point victory in a game where they were laying 11.5 and never really sniffed a point spread cover. So it's a Suns team, 0-4 ATS, 1-3 straight up in their last four. And right now, they don't have all that much of a betting bandwagon. And when we look at the playoff positioning right now, and again, playoff positioning is much more for pundits to talk about than for me to talk about. From a point spread standpoint, it's factored in. That said, I'm not going to say Phoenix is locked into the 7th seed, but they're in good position. If they win another game, they're like any game or down the stretch, they're likely to come in with that 7th seed, and that's where they want to be. So from an urgency standpoint, it's a second of back-to-back for the Suns, and they're already locked into their likely playoff position at number 7. They're not locked in, but they're likely to be the number 7 unless they lose everything and the Clips win everything or something like that. So I'm not going to call it a max urgency situation for the Phoenix Suns. It's not. Their big games come next week, not this week. And they're on the second of back-to-backs, and they play hard against the Rockets last night. So this isn't one of these scenarios where it's like, Phoenix goes balls to the wall here. And from a minute standpoint last night, it's surely worth noting that, Booker played 38 minutes, Brooks 32, Green 31, not ridiculous minute counts, but, not minute counts in the 20s either. And when you talk about the last set of back-to-back sometimes at this stage of the season, sometimes teams run out of gas. So my handicap here has actually less to do with the Phoenix Suns than it does with the Dallas Mavericks. What is Dallas going to bring to the table tonight? Dallas gave the Clippers a battle last night. They came out, they were not ready to play. It was Clips 27-5 was the first score I saw. And then Dallas came back actually the lead, and led in the third quarter, and then it got away from them down the stretch of the fourth, ended up losing by 13 as 11.5, 12-point dog. So failing to cover the number. They gave good effort, and that effort's been there on and off. But they've had they went to Portland and won. They hung around in Denver as 11-point dogs. It's not like they've been getting crushed in every game. That's not the way the Mavs have played down the stretch. That said, the second set of back-to-backs for a team that doesn't want to win games, for a team that looked gassed at the end of last night's game, I just can't get there with Dallas. I can't. So for me, it's Suns or pass for the first of these two games. Laying 10.5. Again, if you're doing nothing but laying points in the NBA, you're in positive expectation territory. You really are. I don't know the urgency's there for the Suns, but I'm not convinced we're getting the Mavs' best effort tonight. And a tanking team with less than best effort is a team we want to lay points against, not a team we want our money on. Phoenix or pass in this one. And it's kind of a comparable story for the Clippers and the The Clippers and the Oklahoma City Thunder playing tonight. Sorry, brain fart happens. Clippers and Thunder go this evening. And right now, again, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen. And by the way, guys, let me be real clear. I use Odds Logic every single day. It helps me. If you want to try it, oddslogic.com/Teddy gets you free 7-day access. Give it a try. It takes about a minute to sign up. It's not a long process. oddslogic.com/Teddy. Look at the live odds screen right now. Oddslogic.com. I'm seeing mostly 6.5 for OKC. There are some 7s out there right now. Total sitting in the 227, 227.5 range. And again, both of these two teams on the second of back-to-backs this evening, both won and covered last night. Which of the two teams is the deeper squad? Well, we know that already. It's the defending champs. LA has not. There are things to really like about this Clippers squad, but their depth is okay, but it's not OKC's depth. And boy, that's shown in every recent meeting. The Thunder. Let's see. The last time the Clips beat the Thunder was in January 2024. The last time the Clips covered against the Thunder was in January 2024. OKC has owned this series 122-101, 126-107, 116-98, 105-92, 102-97. They have two closer, two single-digit wins during that span. One by 6 and one by just a bucket last March, but they're only laying 1 in that game, by the way, which tells that they were missing someone. Bottom line is that OKC has owned the Clips, and we look at the schedule for the Clippers right now. Again, I had them last night. Cash with the Clips last night. There's no anti-Clip bias. But the game that matters for LA is the game at Portland on Friday. It is. This is the second of back-to-backs. They're off a win. There's no statement here for LA, and the bigger game for them comes 2 days from now. So, once again, it's not hard to lay points with OKC on the road. They've been good. If you lay points at OKC in every game all season, you lost money. The Thunder actually have a losing point spread record full year. I got 38-40 with one push full season. But of late, they just covered 18 against the Lakers, 24.5 against Utah, 9.5 against the Lakers, 8 against the Knicks. They've been a covering machine of late. And if I'm playing the late game in LA, I'm laying in this one too. So both games tonight, Phoenix and LA, the Clippers, they're two favorites that I'd rather have as opposed to the underdogs. Don't want Dallas, don't want LA tonight. It's OKC or Phoenix for this better. Thank you so much for watching WagerTalk TV. Guys, check out my homepage, www.buzz.tc. We appreciate the comments, the likes, and the follows very, very much. Stay tuned right here on this channel for more quality video content and have yourselves a great betting Wednesday. We'll do it again tomorrow with another daily double video powered by WagerTalk. Cheers.